merciful God. Ọba tó ṣoore fún mi ṣoore fún ẹ tó ṣoore lójoojúmọ́. Ọba kan má ti kà lẹ́yìn. Adúró pọ́ìpọ́ì lẹ́yìn aṣòótọ́.
Update of pharmaceutical inspection process. Standard operational procedure for inspection of pharmaceutical products. We are bringing it down, and I will implore our members, especially the chairmen of various state branches, to please take note of what we'll be saying here. Because I recollect that yesterday somebody was asking questions about the pharmaceutical inspection committee, how they are supposed to operate. When another juggernaut was going through the Pharmacy Act for us, somebody who became a professor of law yesterday, past president Professor Olubide Akitayo. So if there are any legal aspect of it, it's another giant I'm riding on his shoulder that we can consult. And of course, the chairman of the board of trustees, who I term a very veteran community pharmacist, a veteran chairman of Pharmaceutical Inspection Committee in Lagos State, whom we have passed through his tooth. You know, earlier on when he was introduced, was in a former governorship candidate in Lagos State. Many will not know that he's a grassroots practitioner, a former chairman of Pharmaceutical Inspection Committee, the longest serving in Lagos State. So some of the things we will be talking today is an experience from his table. Next slide. That's fellow Jimmy Agbaje. The definition of the terms, standard operating procedure. What are they? SOP can be defined as detailed written instructions to achieve uniformity of the performance of specific function. The focus of SOP is always set on repeated application of on-chain processes and procedures and its documentation. Of course, we know what pharmaceutical premises is, and we know what inspection is. Next slide. To carry out inspection activities, a lot has been done by Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. And we have somebody who has served as registrar for 2 terms. He's also a double prophet, and who has ensured that certain processes were put in place to better the laws of the practice of pharmacy. Fellow N.A. Muhammad. So if there are gaps in what I'm saying, he is in a better position to put in the flesh and the gaps. Fellow Muhammad, please follow us. In case they ask questions, it will be directed to you when I cannot answer such questions. When we are planning for inspection, these are the processes of what must be undergone in planning: mental preparation, background checks and profiling, documentation, dressing, correspondence, logistics. You could see me today, I'm wearing Babariga and forever. So if I'm going for an inspection, by the way, I've been an inspection for close to 30 years. A volunteer inspection of Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria for that matter. Pro bono. So if I dress like this, there's no way I can go for an inspection like this. So the way the likes of Jimmy Agbaje taught us is that you have to dress as if you are going for a field work. It is a field work. You must be smartly dressed. Am I saying the correct thing? You can't deny me here. Are you saying you are not a person? You must know. You have to know. Yes. Now, so next one. No, this is not suit for sweet. You must dress appropriately. As you go along, you know the reason why you have to dress appropriately for each occasion. You have to meet with the superintendent pharmacy, whether it is for community, distribution, importation, or what have you, the manufacturing. Meeting with the management and the key personnel You conduct the inspection meeting, introduction of the inspection team. By now, we used to have pharmaceutical, then pharmaceutical inspector. But now it's pharmaceutical inspection officer. And our law professor told us that now it is only registered pharmacists that can be pharmaceutical inspection officers. Conduct of meetings, introduction of the inspection team, role of lead inspectors, decisions of whatever. Next slide. Personnel and premises licensure. All these things are going to be looked into. Whether the company is incorporated or sole ownership, then we have poison registrar, DDA registrar. By the way, you know the poison registrar has now been democratized. It happens during the time of NA1. So for a retail practice, you have your own poison register now. For distribution, there is poison register separate for distribution, ditto for manufacturing. The era of the big gigantic one that is omnibus is gone. So the new thing now is that poison register is democratized, depending on the level you are operating. Then we need to know the recording. Record is important. When the keynote address was being given, one of the salient points mentioned by Professor Usifo was that health policies should be driven by data, economics, and outcomes, and not on political hierarchies. So if you have not documented what you are doing, you have not done anything. So data is important in whatever we are going to do. Then patch, manufacturing for manufacturers, all those records are necessary. Product recall processes, prescription records, and pharmaceutical care. All these things are what must be undertaken. Next slide. Right, the application, what it says to be standard operation procedure, PSN, Pharmaceutical Inspection Committee. And by the way, Pharmaceutical Inspection Committee are constituted on state-by-state basis. You have the DPS, the chairman of PSN, representative of PSN, chairman of ACPN, representative of the zonal office or the state office, comes together to constitute the core committee of the PIC in this state. And it is this core committee that are shadowed with the responsibility of making sure that inspectorate activities are carried out as at when due. Next slide. All these are self-explanatory. Confirm the distance from an existing premises and popular. Let's go to the next one. Check the ethical and noticing records are clearly separated. When we get to premises, what are we looking for? These are what are going to be looked after. Checking whether ethical and over-the-counter drugs are separated and clearly demarcated. Verify that storage facilities are adequate. So definitely, if you are down south, where your temperature doesn't rise up to 40 degrees centigrade as we have here yesterday, you should know the kind of storage condition you are going to have. And we are up north here. It means we cannot joke with how we are going to store our crops in whichever environment we find ourselves. Verify that health, air conditioning unit, ventilation, refrigeration, and lighting system are adequate. Confirm the receipt, prescriptions, proper documentation. All these things are necessary. I have about 32 slides here, but I want to concentrate more on about the last 10 slides that is going to give a graphical representation of what is required of every pharmacy and pharmacist being inspected in any premises, be it community, importation, distribution, or manufacturing. Because the majority level 3 that has been attained by Pharmacists Council of Nigeria has made them to conform to certain strategic policy that must be maintained in line with World Health Organization's recommendations. And in pharmacy education, when we recognize the fact that in dispensing, the pass mark is 60%. If you go below 60%, that is outright F. So, inspection of pharmaceutical premises has been upgraded. As from next year now, if you score below 60% in certain parameters, you are not going to be licensed. And if you want to query that aspect, well, I will refer you to Dr. Oyawole, who was the chairman when the update on inspectory activities was conducted last year, where all the inspectors were gathered all over the federation to acquaint them with the recent development and the recent standard that must be maintained in the practice of pharmacy profession in Nigeria. So the chairman of that profession is here, seated, and when we are listening to the zonal director in charge of Northeast, when he was giving his report, he did mention how that exercise was carried out in Nasarawa State last year. So, Dr. Oyawole will bear me out if there are any questions in that area that I cannot answer. As he was the chairman, he will answer those questions. So, I'm putting my Oga on notice. Thank you, sir. Next slide. What are the procedures? Confirm that the premises have current recommended reference books. What are the recommended books? It's listed here. Next slide. Procedure. We have talked about that. Next slide. Physical assessment. For physical assessment of our premises now, the sanitary condition, the appearance of personnel, the layout of the facility, furniture and features, equipment and their functionality, power supply, product handling, all these things are going to be taken into consideration in making sure that whether a premises is registrable or not. Next slide. Then, availability and adequacy of standard operating procedures. If you are a distribution company, do you have a receiving bay? Do you have an SOP to receive goods? Do you have an SOP for goods that are damaged? Do you have an SOP for goods that are about to expire or have expired? And how you dispose them? All these things are things that are going to be inspected and documented before you can be properly registered. If you are compounding availability of reagent for Q test, application of working organogram and B organization, who is responsible to who, all these things are going to be taken into consideration. Then control of facility by superintendent pharmacy. Do we have superintendent pharmacies in place, or we are having people who are asking that their license must be paid for separately for them to go and work in another place? No, that was the issue that the PSN in council was trying to deliberate on yesterday when the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee was giving his report on our colleagues, the young pharmacists group. So, the issue of superintendent pharmacies is very important. Next slide. Ascertainment of good practices. Good pharmacy practice requires that the core of the pharmacy activity is supply of medicine and other healthcare products of assured quality, appropriate information, and advice to patients, and monitoring of the effect of their use. These are important. Good distribution practice as stated. Next slide. Good manufacturing practice as stated. Next slide. After we have gone through all these procedures, then post-inspection activities on site, private meeting with the inspection team and the proprietor or the company staff of such organization meeting with the team, with the superintendent pharmacist, whether it's actually working there or is in control. By the time of by questioning and interaction, you will know the kind of superintendent pharmacist that is on ground. Meeting with the management and the key personnel, compliance directive, and of course, exigencies. Next slide. Post-inspection, review inspection activities, issues to be revisited, issues requiring further investigational correspondence, report writing and endorsement, responsibility of correspondence, and follow-up activity. Next slide. For somebody to be an inspector, these are the qualities of an inspector. Good public standing. Somebody who is doing an analogy can become a pharmaceutical inspector. Team player, friend but fair, must be knowledgeable in the laws governing the practice of pharmacy, appropriate comportment, ability to remain calm under pressure. Next slide. Now, citing of pharmaceutical premises. We are getting to the nitty-gritty now. All of us know this. Pharmaceutical premises cannot be cited, especially community pharmacy. The firstborn of the president. I hope you will look at it because of your members. Pharmacies are not cited as motor parks. Environment where commercial activities and enterprises are standing and growing up very close together and become chaotic places. Marketplaces including kiosks and roadside stores. Then any pharmaceutical premises surrounded or covered completely by a growing market or standing close to it shall be moved to another suitable location 2 years after formal notification to do so by Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. It's in the regulation governing the then pharmaceutical premises within shopping centers are not be more than 3, and they must be well spaced. All these things are set out in the law and the guidelines governing the inspection of pharmaceutical premises. And pharmaceutical premises cannot be sited less than 200 meters from each other. Where pharmaceutical premises are operating, this is the rule. And I hope it is being abided with. Next slide. What are the requirements for pharmaceutical premises? For a retail outlet, a community pharmacy, the minimum requirement is 30 square meters and must have a ceiling of 3.05 meters. Why the reason for 3.05 meters? It is a statement of fact from statistical analysis that you can only have good cross ventilation when you maintain that minimum height. So if you find a situation where the height is 2 meters and say you will provide cross ventilation, there is no way it can be possible. So there are reasons why certain things are set out by the Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria. So we must know. So our chairman in the state, when your members are bringing complaints to you, please, we need to acquit ourselves with all these things. The pharmaceutical premises have been made of concrete walls and not in form of kiosks or bulldogs. Because of weather conditions, they can generate heat, and where you cannot have good ventilation, and you are not having 24 hours light. Not even this era of everybody belongs to as a band now. Either you're a band A or you're a band 0. So you belong to one band. So, and your band will determine how you can effectively maintain conditions for pharmaceutical medicaments. Then the shop in the pharmaceutical premises can be well painted, have shelves which are well arranged and painted, proper ceiling, and the lights. Next slide. A superintendent pharmacist must have an office. Because we are talking about pharmaceutical care, and we want to maintain a good practice. And of course, we want to maintain good relationship with your client. Privacy. Certain things cannot be done on the open floor. That's one of the reasons why it is essential that a superintendent pharmacist in community pharmacy must have an office. Of course, it is given when it's a distribution outlet or importation outlet or manufacturing. But community level, there must be an office of superintendent pharmacist. No matter how small it can be, there has to be some level of privacy where some pharmaceutical care activities can be carried out. And the name of the superintendent pharmacist are being on display on the name book at the entrance of such pharmacy. Next slide. Facility to be provided. Next slide. Now, here we have. This is here we have now the working document area. So during the time of the double prophet, they work with WHO to attain maturity level 3, and it comes with certain conditions, like we have in that section A. Gone are the days where inspectors just go into the field, name of the premises, location, address, distances, whatever. Now all of these things carries mark when inspections are being carried out. They carry their mark and they are awarded marks. And the new thing now is that before, if a pharmacy is registered, he enjoys the liberty for routine inspection to be carried out 3 years after. So you do not need to pay inspection fee until you want to do routine inspection 3 years after. But because of shortage of staff, that 3 years, some premises are not re-inspected 5-10 years after. But the new thing now is that things have changed totally. Routine inspection cannot be guaranteed for three years now. Because whatever you score will determine the number of years you are going to be re-inspected. All these parameters now carries mark. And there is a marking scheme developed by Pharmacists Council of Nigeria in conjunction with WHO to maintain a global standard. The name of the premises is it well spelled out, not where you have, you don't know the name of the premises, it's not well labeled outside. That premises is either maybe it's not a recognized pharmacy, or somebody is doing allergy, or somebody is just doing whatever kind of business the person likes. So such, for the name of premises, you have the mark that is allotted to it. Initially, I don't want to give us the estimate, but I think I better. For community pharmacy, Section A, location approval, all these things will be taken into consideration. Next slide. Section B, next slide. Now, personnel, presence of superintendent pharmacists, those ones that are R&G, when inspector comes, you are not on ground. MR. If an inspector goes, if inspectors visit premises and they cannot meet the presence of the superintendent pharmacist, 10 marks is lost. Presence of supporting staff carries 3 marks. Staff appearance, overall or name tag. We have cases where you have superintendent pharmacists putting on t-shirts to their premises. You need to be well dressed. So if you don't dress well, you are going to lose 5 marks. Facility. So that's a total of 18 marks with respect to personnel. When it comes to facility, it carries 46 marks. Neatness of the surroundings and premises, office of the superintendent pharmacist, counseling area, compounding area, weighing equipment, designated dispensing area, dispensing material. Please, next slide. It's well stated. Designated dispensing area. Next slide. With that slide. Dispensing material, poison cupboard, shelves, pallet, air conditioning, refrigeration, ventilation, adequate lighting. All these ones carries marks, and you are going to have a total of 46 marks in that area. So it's not just the needs, good, satisfactory. They are weighted average. Now, good pharmacy practice. Next slide. Good pharmacy practice. Are you displaying original copy of the license to practice? Are you displaying original copy of the certificate of registration of the premises? Arrangement of medicines. Are they well labeled? Separation of ethical and OTC medicines. Are they well separated? Product identification. Is it a mumbo jumbo arrangement where you have all the creams lumped together, arranged in a diagonal way or whatever, and you have the syrup, everything just mixed together? Non-sales of unregistered medicine. All these ones comes under good pharmacy practice, and the weighted average is 30. And of course, we now come to next slide, documentation. Do we have record of receipts and invoices? Record of prescriptions, especially when we sell the poisons, the diazepams, the lexotans. Are you keeping such prescriptions? These are good. Record availability of poison disposal records, evidence of pharmaceutical care. The other time, Professor Osiko mentioned the use of technology. Do we have computers, laptops in your premises? Are they being made use of, or just for decoration? Then, record of expired and damaged medicine, are they well labeled? Pest control. These are documentations, and the weighted average is 25. And now to the last, general. Do you have reference books? Do we have fire extinguisher? Do we have first aid box? Not for sale, but for member of staff of your premises. First aid box for the member of staff in your premises, not the one you are offering for sale. The weighted average here is 11. So all these marks are calculated together. And lo and behold, any mark that is less than 60% is no longer recommended. If you have 60 to 69%, it is satisfactory. And that means your recommendation will need follow-up inspection. So instead of you enjoying maybe 2 years, 3 years moratorium, next year you will be inspected and you will pay another inspection fee. Chairman, ACPN, I hope you will convey this to your members because it is important. If you score between 70 and 89.5, the recommendation is good. It's recommended. You will enjoy 2 years moratorium before you pay another inspection fee. And of course, if you score between 90 and 100%, that is excellent. That is when you can enjoy 3-year moratorium before you pay another inspection fee for routine inspection. So we'll see that Pharmacy Council has come of age with respect to good pharmacy practice at the community distribution and importation level. Do we need to clap for them? Why? Because you don't want to pay. If you score well, you will not be revisited until 3 years. Do we want to be cutting corner? So you can see the likes of those who are clapping now. You see when the Abolabis were introduced, because they run a well-established pharmaceutical premises along with an HMO. So they can clap because they can beat their chest. So we need to go back, we who are chairmen of state branches or whatever, to acquaint our members with these things, because when they will come and complain to you that I don't know why PSN is giving me notice for another inspection in 1 year or whatever, it is because of what we are talking here now. These are new dispensations and we need to change the time if we are going to move with the global standards. So I believe for the community people, this is the standard. For industry and importation, their own weighted average, because payment there is a bit on the high side. For some of us, it's banking in the house. For distribution, wholesale, distribution and importation pharmaceutical premises. You see, they have 4 grades. Grade D, if your score is below 50%, that is, you score less than 150 of the total 230 that you are supposed to score, you are not going to be recommended. If you score grade C, 50 to 69.5%, it is satisfactory. There will be follow-up inspection. If you score grade B, 70 to 89.5%, good, you are recommended. And of course, if you score between 90 and 100%, excellent, you are recommended. You know, inspection about those levels are rigorous. So if we don't want to be paying inspection fee on a yearly basis, we need to be abreast of the new minimum standard that must be maintained in the inspectorate activities for us to maintain good pharmacy practice, good distribution practice, and good manufacturing practice. So I want to believe that this message is interesting to our ears. It's a food for thought. And I want to stop here since it's a master class. I know it will generate a lot of questions by the time we are going to syndicate or questions and all what that will come up later. And that's why I said I have my master's here. I've only been asked to come and intimate us with what are the recent developments in pharmaceutical inspections. So any questions that are going to be directed to me, I have my dean, past president Atuke Wako in the house. He's a veteran. I have Dr. Ueno Uwaga, who chairman the program that backs these new reforms, is well equipped. And of course, my own brother and the longest chairman of PIC I know, and the grassroots community practitioner. Forget about the political aspect. Fellow Jimmy Abaji is also in the house. And of course, with the backing of the president, they are well equipped to answer any questions that will be thrown to me. And when it comes to the law aspect, Olumide is equal to the guard. And of course, PCN representative, the zonal PCN representative Northeast, is down here. Yes. So you are smiling. We're ready to answer some questions. And of course, double prophet, you will put the anointing because you part all this reform and you cannot run away from making sure that these reforms are executed to the best advantage of pharmacy practice in Nigeria. I thank you all.